everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the Jabroni Sports Network podcast, where we are going to talk about our fantasy football league, and we're going to talk some shit, and we're going to talk some stats, and give you a better idea on what's going on in the league.
All right, so we're going to start by doing our best pickups of the week, and I'll start by saying that I think Wes Culp and Team LOEJ made the best pickup with the Patriots defense, who put up an outstanding 27 points and scored a defensive touchdown and a bunch of turnovers, won that battle, and crushed hard. That's my pick.
You know what I love about the Patriots defense, too, is that they always go out and they make turnovers.
They had a rough week against Miami, and I actually had them, and I dropped them. It's like if you can't put up more than 10 points against Miami, they only had 5, and I dropped them. You know, and I tried to pick them up on waivers today.
They're a tricky defense because they put up points, but they make a lot of turnovers. They score a lot of touchdowns. My pickup for this week, I got kind of a two-way tie here. I've got Team LOEJ also, but for their pickup of Wes Welker, especially with the changes to the drug policy and him being reinstated to be eligible to play this week. I think it was a great pickup.
Super Bowl rematch, baby.
Yeah, that's right. And I also want to add to that list the Dunedin Devils for their pickup of Sammy Watkins, who is now owned by my team. So we'll see how that goes. But I really did enjoy the pickup. I think he's one of the best emerging wide receivers in the league, and I think he'll do some great things.
Now we're going to go over our power rankings.
Well, did you have a sleeper pick for us, Bennett?
Oh yeah, actually I do. Best sleeper was definitely. Oh fuck.
You don't remember who you got?
You know what? It slips my fucking mind.
It's all good, man.
Let's come back to it.
For me, I had LOEJ also again with their sleeper pickup of Mohamed Sanu. Now I've watched Sanu play a lot when he played at Rutgers. I'm a Bulls fan. I've watched USF a lot, and when he was at Rutgers, he's a real good athletic receiver, really fast, good hands. And I think he can emerge, especially with the absence of A.J. Green right now. He can emerge as one of the better receivers in the league. And even when Green comes back, I think he'll still be a solid wide receiver too, or maybe even a good play for your flex spot.
Looking at my notes, I realized it was actually James Jones picked up by OG Cormier this week, and actually now he's in my hands, so it's kind of funny.
It's a very solid pickup. Just depends on how Carr does. And
yeah,
that's the big.
It's coming down to the Oakland passing game. You know, if Oakland is going to go through the air, you know, with the questionability of both McFadden in the run game, it's rough. They got split carries going on there with the run game, and the leader in the passing offense is definitely James Jones. So if they can get open and they can give Carr pass protection, then I don't see him, not getting at least 40, 50 yards a game and a touchdown. So I think it's a solid pickup. But I also agree that Sammy Watkins was a good pickup, and Buffalo is 2-0 right now, and they're doing things through the air and on the ground with Fred Jackson and Spiller.
Yeah.
So
that's very impressive, despite the fact that they suck.
Yeah, they're definitely a pretender, not a winner. They're definitely a pretending team right now.
We already know that there's only one New York team, really. So.
And they suck because
they suck right now. They do, but you know what? You can go fuck yourself because I love them.
It's okay. I love the Bucks, and they suck too. I'm actually paying my bets out for the Bucks winning the division. I made some stupid bets, and I am paying out on Friday after the Bucks lose on Thursday.
Solid job. All right, we're going to move on to our power rankings. And for the power rankings this week, I did what anyone would do and put my team on top. So Clearwater Dolphin Tales 2 right now have the top spot, right above the OG Cormier for number 2. And I do have a good reason that I want to put myself on top instead of my brother.
Depth.
I find that my team has a lot more depth. Got a lot of wide receivers that are really talented and a lot of talented backs on my bench. And just besides that, the fact that the OG Cormier's success depends a lot on Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson. So if one of them has an off game, they both have an off game.
Who are they playing this week?
They are
Green Bay?
They are playing Green Bay this week.
Yeah, it's a rough defense.
That is a very
it's been rougher in the past.
I think they'll do well still this week, but I think in the future, the absence of either one of them in a game could result in.
And Matthews
having a
can't
poor
be an
game.
entire defense. Clay Matthews is not the entire defense.
It's true.
And their secondary is definitely taking hits this year.
Third on the power rankings, I have Team Dolphins. I feel like their team has been pretty strong, has shown resilience in the first 2 games, and has battled very, very, very vigilantly. And I'm going up against them this week, so it's going to be a tough game, but I feel like I can prevail. At number 4, I actually have an 0-2 team. Shut up, phone. I have an 0-2 team, which is the Trap Lords FC. Now, they are 0-2, but if you look at the statistics, they've scored the 3rd most points out of any team in the league. So, any betting man would say that they should be number 3. I've taken their inability to win to drop them to number 4.
It was by 3 points total of those 2 losses, I might add.
Yes.
So they're very, very, very hard.
Including a 1-point loss to Clearwater Dolphin Tails 2, which is
that's heartbreaking.
Very, very heartbreaking.
Fuck Reggie Bush.
Then at number 5, I've got the Dunedin Devils. They've made a lot of good moves, added depth to their team, and I think throughout the season they're going to show a lot of improvement, and they're going to be a team to be reckoned with. Number 6, I've got Dope Rage, which has taken a step back after losing Peterson. And
That was a hard hit.
A little bit of problems with depth at running back and receiver
But
as well.
hell, great pickups on the waiver wire.
Very good,
and
very
made
good pickups.
decent trades.
Very solid
A
trades.
little bit of trade rapey, but we'll get back to that later. But
yeah, we'll continue to that. Rounding out the bottom 2, I have the 0-2 Team LOEJ sitting just above Chalupa Batman. Only reason Chalupa Batman has scored the lowest amount of points at 1-1. And I have a little bit of trouble seeing a lot of potential on their bench also.
yeah, it is a little rough. I'm going to go over my power rankings rather quickly. For the same reasons as my learned colleague right here, I'm going to put the Clearwater Dolphin Tails at number 1, followed by OG Cormier at 2. However, in defeating my cousin and Team Dolphins, and also just all-around confidence in my team and my improvements that I've made to my lineup, I'm going to place myself and the Dunedin Devils number 3, and we're going to follow that up with Trap Lords FC. They have done great work. Jason's put a hell of a team together, and he's made some good additions and gotten into the trade game a little bit. And I like what I see. I think it's gonna be a hell of a matchup this week against us. And moving on, we're gonna talk about my cousin's team, Team Dolphins. I have them under the Trap Lords. I just think that there's a lot of, I'd say, bad starts on a lot of his key players. Jamal Charles hasn't shown up. Just flat out disappointing, and depth is also an issue, I feel like, on his team. He's got a lot of injured players. Moving on, I put Team Dope Rage number 6, and then I got Team LOEJ slightly above Mr. Chalupa Batman,
Who
aka
is now
McGiblets, right?
Mr. McGiblets, Chalupa Batman. So we were
Best name in the league, by the way. Thank you, sir.
very good, very solid name, very solid name.
Close second would be Clearwater Dolphin Tails too.
Yeah,
I named that team.
He did name it. It was definitely his idea. I think if I would have brought in the team name that I have for my other league, though, could be the best. That league team name is the Super Weenie Hut Juniors.
I gave him
Pretty solid.
the tools to name the team.
So at this point, we would like to introduce none other than the owner of the Trap Lords FC. It is Jason Saunders. Jason, welcome.
Have a seat, sir.
Thank you for joining us in Alex Bennett's house.
Oh, thank you guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
How you doing?
Nice playing the league with you guys.
It's fun to see.
How we all doing tonight?
Excellent. What would you think of the power rankings? Who do you think?
Power rankings,
Who do you think has a more accurate ranking?
definitely Kevin. You just know what you're talking about. It's a solid lineup. I feel like you can,
Would you edit that and re-rank the top 5 and maybe put yourself ahead of me, but put Team Dolphins below me and you?
I don't know.
Do you think you're better than Team Dolphins?
I do.
All right then. Well, I guess you have your own opinions on that.
We'll see.
This is the deciding week, folks. This is a big week for all of us here. I think we're going to go into our week 3 preview.
But before we do that, I'm going to have to stop you, Bennett. I want to remind everyone watching the broadcast that this particular podcast is brought to you by none other than Midnight Moonshine. We have right here a nice little bottle of, I wouldn't say it's a bottle, it's definitely a mason jar. But a jar, which is a nice pint size, which is apparently a new addition at my liquor store, which is pretty neat. We only had the 750s previously. Now the pint, this one is also blueberry, which I had not had until this evening, and I might say it kind of tastes like ass.
It sucks.
It does suck.
Kevin,
Cherry's better.
Cherry is
go
the
with
way
the
to go.
cherry, but I would go with this over anything but the cherry because it is 100 proof. So I'd stick with
100
these
proof
two
is what's
flavors. It is what's up.
If it was 80 proof, I think it might taste a little better.
Cheers, gents.
Moonshine shouldn't be below 100.
Thank you, sir.
Delicious.
You're lying out your ass.
Rocket. All right.
That's cool. But yeah, just want to say making moves. Lots of moves this week. As we already discussed. Watch trade rape. If you're trade raping, you're a dick. You are a dick. You shouldn't do it.
And this is.
But hold on. If you're getting raped, you gotta step up your game. You're just being a pussy, and you gotta know what you're doing. All right.
You gotta watch that
You're
sports
falling
center.
into it.
You gotta read RotoWire. Don't trust the projections on ESPN.com. They are fucked. All right?
ESPN doesn't know shit.
Honestly,
that.
bad projections. Okay, but this is Trade Rape Awareness Month here in our league, and we want to make sure that everyone just take some time to fucking Google that shit.
Right.
Anything. I mean, it's pathetic out there, boys.
In this instance, I feel like it's different than regular rape because here it is acceptable to blame the victim.
Yes, that is true.
You have to stay informed in this league or you will be raped, and our league has shown no ability to garner enough votes to veto any trades. So.
And we're also going to be announcing the fact that our fearless leader here will be pushing through all trades that get accepted. So if you are the victim of trade rape, he will not save you, and votes will not save you.
It's true.
It's too much of a pain in the ass waiting on 5 fuckers to get on their laptop and fucking vote.
Or their Microsoft tablet, whatever one.
All right, I'm gonna cut this a little short and just end by saying, if you have been a victim of trade rape in the past, or you feel like you may become one in the future, night, keep your butthole tight.
Very nice words, Kevin.
All right, Kevin. I think we need to go to our featured game of the week.
Can we?
We can get to that. How about we do this first? How about we talk about a couple games and then we will arrive on our featured game of the week.
Fair enough. Let's go from the top then, shall we?
From the top, we've got Dope Rage against Chalupa Batman. For that, the line is 13 points in favor of Dope Rage, and I believe that he will win that matchup, but I do not believe he will be able to cover the 13-point spread.
I would also agree with that assessment. How about you, Jason?
I'd agree. Dope Rage definitely has a better team than Chalupa Batman. Chalupa Batman's been bulking up a little bit. It's still not there. Dope Rage hasn't been as good as I thought he would. Coming out a little weak, but we'll see. I think Dope Rage is going to have it by at least 4 or 5 points.
Absolutely. All right, and moving on from that matchup, we have OG Cormier against LOEJ. The line that he's getting is kind of ridiculous right now. OG Cormier is predicted to win by 21 points. I feel like he will be able to win, but I don't realistically. I couldn't bet realistically on anybody losing by 21 points.
It all comes down to how Eric sets his lineup. Honestly,
Absolutely.
Team LOEJ, there is some definite good players. There is some definite bad players. And it all comes down to the matchups. You got to look at who's playing who and what they're going to do. If you're going to hit a wall with a solid defense, then maybe that running back isn't the right play this week. So, Eric, my suggestion to you, think very carefully about your lineup. Otherwise, you might fall victim and become 0-3.
That's a very important game. Could potentially push Adam to 3-0, could push Eric to 0-3, or could change things up a bit. Could be
Yeah, Eric can become a contender overnight. Honestly, it's so early that one game, one victory,
changes everything.
that
Absolutely.
makes you a contender, or it makes you a loser.
Absolutely.
Unless you're Chalupa Batman.
And in this league, I mean, just face it, most of you are going to be losers. So just do your best not to get your head shaved. But we're going to go ahead and move on. The next game I've got here is the Clearwater Dolphin Tails 2 against Team Dolphins. I might sound a little biased here. I'm projected to win by 9 points. I'm going to put the Dolphin Tails 2 to be able to beat that spread and to win by more points than that this week.
I would agree. I don't know how close that game's going to be, but looking at the lineups and knowing the tendencies of the players and looking at the matchups that they are going to be facing this week, I'd say that the Dolphin Tails 2 do have the edge over Team Dolphins. And I think that a lot of that has to do with a lack of trading and a lack of quality acquisitions on the Team Dolphins. And I think that the fact that my friend Kevin over here has been all over the waiver wire and has been making trades. Lots of trades. Fair, quality trades. Jason?
Yep. Clearwater Dolphin Tails is going to win. I'd say about 15, be about the spread. No offense to the Dolphins. I think you have a good team. I mean, I lost to you by 2 points, so of course you have a good team. Brandon Marshall's, I think he's going to have an exceptional game. I think he's really getting into it this season, but, Dolphin Tails is stacked. I think Phillip Rivers is going to stand out, but...
That was an interesting move, too.
Absolutely. Phillip Rivers is a solid quarterback.
Because
you just can't beat Peyton Manning with that odds.
Well, yeah, the whole Folds versus Rivers, it honestly, you could have went either way, and I think Rivers is the right call.
Rivers is a fantasy monster. I agree with that.
And honestly, the game that Antonio Gates and him had, their connection that they had, even though the Chargers are throwing in a second, more competitive, almost younger version of Antonio Gates into the equation, it's damn impressing. It's ridiculous. He's old, but they got chemistry, and sometimes that's better than most of the skills that you can teach people, because you can't teach chemistry.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the featured game of the week. It is going to be between the two gentlemen to my right, the Dunedin Devils and the Trap Lords FC. My prediction, according to ESPN, the Devils are favored to win by 10 points. I personally am picking the underdog in this situation. I'm taking FC Trap Lords. I feel like it's going to be a close game, decided within 5 points. But I think that Jason will just have just enough to be able to push through. So what I'd like to do at this point is to talk to you guys about what you think about the game. Bennett, if you are going to beat my prediction and in turn beat Jason, what player are you looking to make the most impact on the game?
Well, look, it comes down to this, Kevin. All right? ESPN's projections are fucked, okay? They're downright wrong. If they're ever right, it would amaze me, all right? But I'm looking at my team here, and I'm looking at the matchup here, and honestly, I think both our quarterbacks are going to have career games, all right? Andrew Luck, my boy, going up against Jacksonville, he's going to tear them to shreds. It's going to be rapey, all right? It's going to be bad. But the same token goes for Drew Brees going against Minnesota. I think it's going to be one of those high-powered games for both those guys. And, running backs is pretty matched. Wide receivers is pretty matched. But I think what's going to win me the game is the tight end slot. I made an acquisition for Jimmy Graham this week. And I'm also running a tight end, Greg Olsen, in my flex. And I'm thinking that my two tight ends are going to show up, and they're going to do work. And I think that when you look at it, it's going to be my flex and my tight end versus his flex and his tight end. And whoever wins that matchup is going to win this. And I think I got the edge.
Well, I just want to add that having 2 tight ends is asinine. I feel like it's just not going to work. Emmanuel Sanders in my flex is definitely a favorite target of Peyton Manning. He won't have a super breakout game, but he'll definitely do better than Greg Olsen. I mean, he hasn't really been that much of a points monster at all. Emmanuel Sanders is looking more promising against their matchup anyways. Like you said, quarterbacks tied. Luck's going to have a great game. Breeze is going to have a great game. They're going against shitty defenses. What can you say? Easy enough. McCoy's going to have a great game. We'll give you that. He's going to beat Gore. Definitely going to put up more points than Gore. Gore's going to be solid. Sproles. He's definitely going to have more than he projected. ESPN's bullshitting when they think they're going to have 8 points.
And I'd agree with that.
He's going to show up Stacy's. Yeah, that's for sure.
I think that Sproles will have a 14-point game for you. Honestly,
Stacy has a good opportunity to break
Yeah,
out this game.
he
does.
Dallas,
He
Sproles
showed
is-
promise.
Cowboys are ass. Like
I agree.
Ass.
Cowboys are nothing.
Yeah, basically, I think Sproles and Stacy will match at 14. I think they're both capable of getting 80 yards in the TD, and I think that McCoy will get better than Gore, but I think the only reason why McCoy won't be way out in front is because he's split in time with Sproles and that high-powered Eagles offense.
All right, but here's where I feel like you're wrong. Is in the receivers. They're definitely not equal at all. Detroit Nelson's going to definitely have a bigger game than Mike Wallace. Definitely. Matt Bryant's going to definitely kick more than Folk. He's definitely going to put a lot more points. The Eagles, should have taken 2 dabs and drinking moonshine. But the Atlanta Falcons are definitely going to have Bryant set up for more kicks. So I feel like I got you there.
I feel like Nick Folk, I want to add, has basically had a monster year. The Jets' offense flat out sucks. But when they get the red zone and choke on whatever defense is there, there's Nick Folk, and he's kicking 3. And he's been goddamn automatic. I love Matt Bryant, all right? I think he's a great kicker, an even better guy, and I think he will put up numbers, but I think that these are 2 of the best kickers in the NFL. As far as situational kicking, as far as guys that are going to be able to get the field goals and get the 3 points, it's going to be Folk and Bryant. No matter who. Vinatieri, Janikowski, they're all great guys, but those offenses are either straight duds or they're going to be getting touchdowns in the red zone. I feel like that the Atlanta Falcons can also do that, but I know for a fact the Jets won't get as much.
all right. So as riveting as this talk about kickers is, close this talk about the game of the week with saying that I believe that it is another one of the instances where choices of starters is going to be what wins or loses this game for either.
I agree.
We're going to go on and talk about trades this week. And again, watch your buttholes.
keep it tight.
All right, I'll start with the first 3-way trade of the league, and I picked up Sammy Watkins on waivers, and I was approached by Kevin here, and he's like, I want Watkins. I'm like, well, he's on my bench. I guess I can give you Watkins. What can you do for me? He couldn't do nothing for me, so he's like, I'm going to bring my brother into this, and I gave him Watkins. He gave his brother Rashad Jennings, and his brother gave me James Jones. Also, another great pickup by the OG Cormiers. So I feel like that was a very good example of a completely well-rounded trade for all 3 teams in this, and it's a perfect example of how you shouldn't fear the trade because of trade rate, but the fact that you can all improve your team from a trade.
Here's the bottom line. If you're going to make a trade and someone's proposing to you, do a little research, look it up. Don't just go into it blind. You know, you want to know what they're doing.
So we did have a lot of big trades this week. I do want to talk about a couple. Before I reveal what I believe to be the best trade of the week, and I think we're all, well, at least the 2 of us are in agreement on what it was. Before we reveal that,
Let's talk about the worst one.
Ooh, actually, that's funny. I was going to introduce that idea to you guys. Sad as might see, I'm going to call myself out, and I think my pickup of Trent Richardson was probably the worst pickup of the week. Not going to go into some other ones, but I feel like notably
Well, if we're
I put a
talking,
little too much faith into Trent Richardson. Didn't do my research, didn't look at his first 2 weeks, but
well, if we're talking some trades, and I'd be honest, I think the poorest trade, and I'm gonna call the both of you motherfuckers out right now, because I think the poorest trade was, it was, okay, I feel like there was a case of trade rape that went on between Bennett.
Oh yeah, there was actually. Victor Cruz
Victor
I acquired,
Cruz
and he got Justin Forsett.
For Justin Forsett, I believe that is a very imbalanced trade.
But here's the thing. I will say this. Justin Forsett had an opportunity first and goal at the 1, and he could have got a touchdown in the 4th quarter. And in the 3rd quarter, he had first and goal at the 4, had an opportunity to get a touchdown. He's getting the opportunities. He just didn't get the gap. He just didn't get the hole. He's a very quick guy. He can shoot the gap if it's there. But when you're down to go, and it's on the goal line, there's no gap. It comes down to power running, and he doesn't have it. But I will add that the 40-yard run that led to that 1-yard run, he should have got it. Coach called timeout. It should have been a challenge flag. He had that touchdown. I think that would have made a significant difference.
Well, let's continue on to some of the better trades of the week. Still not the best trade of the week at this point in my mind, but one of the better trades of the week was between myself and Team Dope Rage. Dope Rage sent me Marquise Colston and Wes Welker in exchange for Shane Vereen and Randall Cobb, and I think that there was a very solid trade because Dope Rage was pretty short at running back, so Vereen will help him out there, and Randall Cobb can also make up for the wide receivers that he traded to me, which were Marquise Colston and Wes Welker.
I think that was also smells a little trade rapey in my opinion.
no, I wouldn't go as far as trade rape. I feel
Alright,
like Kevin
trade broke.
Kevin got the better end of the deal.
He did.
Dobrage needed a running back, so Vereen helps. He does help, but
But
the
he
quality of
splits carries.
player, the quality of players isn't the same. Welker and Colston are a little bit better than Vereen. Cobb is decent; he's equal, but Vereen's just a little bit below. But it's what Dope Rage needed, so that's a chance.
It was it was a perfect example of the quality isn't there, but you are dealing with a set amount of slots for specific types of positions. And Dope Rage, he needed one type of position, and Kevin took advantage of it. It's plain and simple.
Yeah.
And I'd go on to say that Vereen, as good as he is, as much potential as he has, he's still splitting carries with Ridley. And that the only team I see with a 1-2 punch that actually works and gets both guys carries and both guys points is the thing that Jason and I got going on with Sproles and McCoy.
There's one other one
You're
besides
wrong.
that.
You're out of line anyway.
I would push past that and say Cincinnati Bengals also have a 1-2 punch that is very, very potent.
Who?
Giovanni Bernard and Hill are both very solid running backs. Both
I agree.
put up points.
Hill was a good.
Both get goal line looks, and the Cincinnati offense has shown that they've been almost unstoppable.
Well,
but
with AJ Green is gonna affect that. I
we're
think.
We're running short on time. This video is getting close to about 29 minutes at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead and say my best trade of the week. I'm gonna give to Alex Bennett and myself. In that trade, I sent him Jimmy Graham and Zach Stacy in exchange for DeMarco Murray and Vincent Jackson, and it answered a lot of questions that we had on our bench. I had Antonio Gates, so was willing to part with Jimmy Graham, and I was real short at running back, so it very much helped to have a top quality running back like DeMarco Murray in that trade.
I think it was a very fair trade for both parties. I think that I lost my my high-powered running game, but at the same time, Zach Stacy will find a home on my
Yes.
team, no problem.
And your team is a lot more balanced.
It is more balanced. The fact that I have Jimmy
Both
Graham,
of our teams are more balanced.
I agree. When I dropped Antonio Gates, I had no idea that he was going to have 3 touchdowns the next week, and when I dropped
scooped him up right out of it.
And when I dropped the Patriots, I had no idea that they would have 3 interceptions and a turnover for a touchdown.
Though.
But still, at the same time, I made 2 drops that led to 2 huge games by 2.
All right,
huge
Jason,
positions.
do you have a top trade of the week that you'd like to share?
I just like to mention that your pickup of Hill, you dropped for Joe Flacco. You don't really need Joe Flacco's backup. Hill, I feel like, is going to have a great year, so that's a great pickup on you, Kevin.
Solid.
I agree.
So,
I agree. I
appreciate
gave you
it.
good
about it.
I
depth.
appreciate that. Would like to just remind everyone, make sure that you're being active in the league. Any quality team is not going to remain that way if you don't keep them fluid. This is fantasy football. It's not the same as regular football. We're not dealing with contracts and real people. We're dealing with real people, but we don't have contracts with them. We don't have relationships with those people. It's easy to pick up someone, drop someone, trade this person for that person. You want to do whatever you can to increase the numbers on your squad every week. So
And
remain
also,
active.
I also want to add, in addition to being active, be aware of bye weeks. All right, folks.
Stay
Week
protected,
4,
folks.
not this week, but next week, bye weeks will be in effect. All right. Some players won't be playing every week. Make sure that you can plug your holes. All right, and watch.
Plug up all them holes.
Plug up
please.
all them holes.
Plug 'em. Watch your buttholes. Watch for trades.
And watch
bye
for
weeks.
drops. Watch for drops because people are going to make the mistake of
Send that
dropping
on
the
a-
wrong guy.
Send that on.
And you can pick him up on his bye week.
Once again, Midnight Moon Moonshine. We're just going to take another sip of that. Sponsoring this little podcast here.
And we're going to close with saying, God bless America.
Oh, that tastes good. Just
Mm.
kidding. Tastes like shit. Thanks, Kevin.
I think I ate a blueberry.
Very nice.
Blueberry.
God bless America. God bless the League of
Berries.
Extraordinary Jabronis.
Berries
And
in what's house?
Go down, Bennett. You're going to lose by 5.
This guy's going to lose.
He's down. He's out for the count. Goodbye, folks.
They're all going to lose.